Hi, I'm Karl Danielsen along with head coach Ed Carberry, and we're talking Southwestern Jags football. Well, Coach, kings of the neighborhood, huh?
Every year you want to beat your neighbors, and the Jags are the kings of the county. For the first time in about 20 years, we have, not just us, but all together, the 4 teams in the county are playing on the same level, the same divisions, and so we came out of it on top. We beat Mesa, Palomar, and Grossmont. We beat Grossmont this last weekend.
So great game, final score 37-20.
37-20.
And let's talk a little bit about how the scoring went on and what went on.
Well, a big dominating factor was the wind that was coming out from the scoreboard end. And you kick that ball in the air and it goes forever. Our punter kicker, Jaime Medina from Point Loma, he had an 87-yard punt. Yeah, it's unthinkable. And so those guys did a good job, but really got a lot of production out of D'Angelo Howard, who's a slot receiver and a punt kick returner. He returned a punt for a touchdown. It was the funniest thing. He got like 4 guys from Grossmont standing around the ball, which is stopped, and then he's standing there watching it, and suddenly he runs in there, picks it up off the ground, takes off running, goes about 65 for a touchdown. So he did a great job. Jason Miller, offensive tackle from Olympian High School, had his best game in the 2 years that he's been here with us. He really performed well. So we had a big punt return for a touchdown, and then we had a pass from DeMonte to Peyton Hazuga from Mar Vista, and we had a couple other things go on there. We did a great job.
Yeah, it's always an interesting time when you're playing over there at West Hills High School because you have the wind that comes through that tunnel down through the 52 there, and it's, you get some like hot climbs, some cool climbs, but the wind itself kind of just does a circular motion. So yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Coupled with that was the sun, because whoever put that football field in place put it the wrong way. Because the sun, no matter where you go, you can't get away from it. Every quarter, there's something in your face. And that was something to deal with. We had 2 drop touchdown passes where the guy was wide open, and he said the sun was right in his eyes. So it was a tough one.
Outstanding. How about the defense? How'd they do this week?
Defense did well. We had very physical. We pretty much shut down their run. The way a typical Mike Jordan day is throw the ball deep about 5 or 6 times and connect. They connected 4 times on that, and that set them up for a short field and opportunity to score. But overall, the defense did a good job, played real solid on 3rd downs, and we looked for big things from them this next week.
Outstanding. So, talking about next week, you got to take the big long ride, is that right?
Heading to Riverside, going north, getting on 15 north, and we've played against them before. They're always a tough team. They've got really outstanding talent, good speed at every position, great size. One of their tackles is 6'10", 360 pounds, and so they're going to be we're going to have a tiger by the tail, literally, come next Saturday. Outstanding.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll be right back. Nicolosi's is San Diego's most authentic Italian restaurant. For more than 60 years, they have been serving up fresh and authentic recipes passed on from generation to generation. Nicolosi's offers Italian food catering, wedding catering, special event catering, large business takeout orders, office takeout orders, school restaurant fundraiser nights, and birthday parties and private holiday party reservations. Come on out and see Ron and Barb at Nicolosi's. Going to an event at the sports arena? Well, come on by and say hi to the Nicolosi's team at the sports arena. We are now serving some of our favorites during Gulls games and other events. Visit them today for the best Italian food in town. Mangia! Okay, we're back. So, Coach, Let's talk a little bit about this next week, but first let's get into our kicking game a little bit. Talk to us a little bit.
The kicking game was the big factor, and the big factor was the wind for the kicking game. Jaime had a shot at a 58-yard field goal. He made 3 other field goals, kicked that gigantic punt we talked about, but also had 4 or 5 punts that just took off forever, totally changed and dominated the field position. That's one of the things we have to get this week from him. It's a real blended thing in that, you punt away down there, you got to run down there and cover it, or it's going to come back at you real fast. When we played Fullerton earlier in the year, that was one of our big focal points, was to control the punt team and not allow them to score through that area.
Now his kickoffs are just getting longer and longer too, right?
They were concerned about the end zone camera because he's kicking off from the 35. He's hitting it incredibly high. In fact, I looked one time, I couldn't find it. I hadn't looked high enough. It was a lot higher. And it just kept going. And he had the wind behind him, sure, but it's still, that must have landed about 20 yards out the back of the end zone. When they came out of halftime to go out there and kick around a little bit, he made a 70-yard field goal with the wind. It's just incredible.
Wow.
So he's been a dominant force. He's got a couple of offers right now. I know San Jose State is real interested in him. Texas Tech is also interested in him, and they're ready to commit with money.
Wow, that's fantastic. The other thing I'm seeing in the kicking game is the surrounding cast around him is getting better and better and better. And the snapper is a huge thing, and obviously I've had a little bit of connection with the young man that's snapping right now, and he has just got so much better. I just can't believe it.
Well, you're right there. The snap, if you can't control the snap, every time you line up, you're thinking, was this going to be to my right or my left, whatever. And finally, Peyton Hazuga, we got him in there and dialed in, and he did a great job on the punt snaps for sure. He struggled a little bit on the PAT field goal for some reason, but was able to project those 2 over. Yep.
I think the one thing I'm also seeing now is we're getting very solid as far as when we're kicking field goals from like the guards out. It's starting to get to where the guys are starting to get their hands, or they're combining together, and we're not getting as much leakage as we were at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think that's real accurate. I think the way they're dropping their inside foot back a little bit better, bracing up, we were a little bit too high and getting bull rushed into the backfield. So the speed of the snap, and then the hold has been great. Cameron Keynes from Santana High School stepped in there. Now we've got a solid group of the snapper, the holder, and the kicker, and the timing of the whole thing. Because before, both Jaime and Mark Alejandre, they'd get ready to go, and they'd wait until the ball was caught because they weren't always sure about where the ball was going to go, which screwed up the timing. And so now we've got that timing back together again, and it's working well. The other thing we're really doing well in the kicking game is we're covering kicks. We've got a forcing unit of 4 wide receivers / DB guys that are getting down the field and leveraging the ball to their inside. So that's been really a big plus. The kickoff coverage has been good. We kick the ball high because of Jaime's abilities, and then we have time to get down there because we got to have all those speed guys down on the field.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, great stuff. What else did you want to talk about?
I think our 2 safeties, Logan Darby, he's from Arkansas. He's been out here for 2 years. He recovered from an injury to his knee during the summer a year ago, and he is coming out there hitting anything that moves. And Isaac Wright from St. Augustine, really both those 2 guys, they did a phenomenal job, controlled the middle of the field. They do a great job of getting everybody lined up properly also, so we can make our adjustments. But those 2 guys made really a super huge difference for us this last game.
Yeah, because in years past, Grossmont would either come here or we'd be there, and they'd throw that just high arc pass, and they were there to take care of that. That's fantastic. So going up there, and you're playing a Riverside team, and when they're at home, you not only play Riverside football, but you play Riverside band.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We went up there a few years ago. I think it was like 2011. And it was the last game of the year. It was super cold, and everybody had like 9 jackets on, trying to stay warm. And we got out there, and Coach Kraft was the head coach, Tom Kraft, at the time. I think it was like his 2nd year there. And so we're standing around waiting for the game to get going, and here comes the band. And here comes the band. And here comes the band.
And here it
They
came.
went by us for like 5 or 10 minutes, all playing super loud. There's 2 bands in the state that are funded. One is Riverside and the other one is Pasadena. They must have had close to 200, maybe 300 people in this band. It's a real source of pride. And then they put a barbecue going on down at the end, and they have fans that blow the smoke from the barbecue right over to your bench. So everybody's wants to be focused, but boy, the hamburger over there smells pretty good.
Yeah.
So they've got to go and they have a good environment. They've got great coaching and excellent players, and it'll be an uphill battle for sure. We're gonna have to do things right 9 times out of 10. This is the second #1 ranked in the state team we've played this year. We played Fullerton, who at the time was #1, and we did a great job against them. And now here at the end, with 3 games to go, we've got to step up our game again, be good about controlling the ball and not turning it over, and keep the pressure on them so we can see if they'll get themselves in a situation that they don't want to always be in.
One of the amazing things when we've played them that I've noticed, now I don't know years past, but I don't know how they are now, but I can remember times when they had 125 to 150 players on the sideline. And
Yep.
so what happens on that is, I remember him wholesale changing out 11 guys at one time per play.
Yeah.
And that, you know, you end up playing 3 teams, you know, in one day, and the freshness and what have you, plus the ability to stand and look at a play on the sidelines as a whole team, and then sprint out there, get on the ball, and run it. I mean, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, they've done some really good things in that regard. This year's a little different on defense. They're playing fewer players. They're playing about 17 to 18 guys. And when we played Fullerton, they had, I want to say, 125 or 30 guys suited out for our game, and then another 60 or so that were gray shirts. And so Riverside is more about who's on the field right now, but they're going to have a large group of players, and as you mentioned, just the factor of being fresh, to be able to hustle out there, give a guy a break, and not really have things dip very much. On our side, we're real pleased. We're going to get about 5 or 6 guys back that were injured. This last week, we didn't start our 2 starting offensive tackles. And so we're going to get 3 defensive starters back this week also. So good timing for us, and a great opportunity to get out there and compete against the best. When you want to find out how good you are, find the best, go play them, and then if you do good, you do good. If you don't, then retreat to the weight room and get big and strong.
Well, that's it, and that's another thing we've talked about before. Fullerton, like being #1, and they're like a quick team versus this team, which is a big, quick, strong team. You might elaborate on that a little bit.
And Fullerton was super fast. They weren't real physical. I mean, they'd hate to hear that, but you know, they got after us pretty good. But RCC is just a little bit different. They have good speed, really very good speed on the edge, and the safeties and secondary do a good job. But the guys up front are super physical. They're guys that got butts about 2 axe handles wide, and they get out there and it's like a sumo wrestling kind of deal where the O-line, D-line just smash each other and see who can push just a little bit in the other direction, and then get a good back to see the hole and make it happen.
So offensively, we're going to go against their defense. What kind of a defense are they running this year?
You know, they're multiple. I would say when you look at Southern California Community College, you're really getting 2 looks this year. One is a 3-man line that's slid over, and a stand-up. We call them a jag, so it's a 40 jag. There's 3 true linemen on the ball, and then a good athletic guy over here off the tackle. And then also they're giving us a straight 50 look, or 34. Got the 3 down linemen, nose, 2 ends, and then 4 linebackers and 4 DBs, and those guys are all just kind of keeping you in front of them, so waiting for you to make a mistake so they can jump on it. But those are the two primary things they're going to do. They don't blitz quite as much as they did before. It looks like they're saying, hey, we've got a really good group, and the only way we can screw this up is if we blitz, and so they're going to stay in front. There's an interesting storyline also. A guy that's playing middle linebacker for him, Vic Miramontes, and he's from that area. A year before this, he was the offensive player of the year in the conference playing quarterback, and he went to Minnesota on a scholarship, came back, and didn't like it for whatever reason, got back, and now he's the starting middle linebacker and leads the team in tackles. So he's a guy we got to know where he's at all times.
Absolutely. So offensively, they're still running pretty much Tom's spread, if you will, and other things. Yep,
they're in a 2x2 bombers formation or trip set, but they've also got 2 or 3 tight ends that they kind of filter in there occasionally, and they're a straight-head running team. Last year they had 2 1,000-yard rushers from the same team in the same backfield. It's hard to do, and so this year they don't have that 1-2 punch that's exaggerated in terms of yards gained. I think the leading rusher right now has about 500 yards. So, but they've got a big giant quarterback who's 6'5", and he can about 220, and he throws the ball. He gets it out there on the outs. So it's going to be a lot of fun to go out there and compete against the team who right now it's them and Butte. Even though College of the Canyons hasn't lost a game yet, they're still ranked below Butte and Riverside.
So there's special teams. Anything different about them? Or?
No, not. You know, they bring pressure on the punt return team. They've got a solid guy that can kick off into the end zone. They've got the speed to cover, and it's like us. We can get down the field like Fullerton. We played them, and Saddleback also. You know, you got guys that can run. You can put them in there, and they can cover kicks. And that's something that they've done really well. And it's our kickoff return and punt return team. It'll be great. We're going to match their intensity when we get out there because we've done a great job. We've returned, I think, 2 kickoffs for touchdowns, 2 or 3 punts for touchdowns. And Coach Clyde Logan and Coach Brett Hudson are coaching those positions and really getting a lot out of the kickoff return team. That's every 10 yards we get on kickoff return or punt return, we don't have to get a first down for us. So it's really been critical, and we got to make that. We got to win that battle right there in the kicking game.
Well, you got to take the ride up there, and it'll be a good ride, and you got to go to their stadium. But you know what? I think the Jags have got the best chance that they've ever had to go up there and to make it happen, Coach. So let me tell you, good luck on that this week.
All right, thanks, Carl.
And take care. This is Karl Danielsen along with Ed Carberry, and this has been Jag Football.